Last week, well, actually, it began on Mother's Day. We started a section of We Declare War, and wanted to start talking about We Declare War for our families. And that we believe that evermore, so in these days, that the enemy is out to destroy the integrity of the family unit. And what happens in our families, and to break things apart, and to tear families apart and separate them. And it all began back with Adam and Eve when they disobeyed, and then they had children, and then their children began to have rivalry in the midst of it. And we're not getting into that part of it today, but what happened is from that very moment when Cain killed Abel, the separation in families began to take place in an instant, and it has set itself down through the generations. And the enemy does not like that we have said we declare war for our families. He does not like that we are standing for the truth of God in a day and age where truth can be your own. Well, can I tell you something today? It is not your truth. The only truth is the truth of Jesus Christ that we should stand on, which is the Word of God that is and was and is to come. So let me tell you something. If you're here to tell me you're here to live your truth, I'm here to tell you, sorry about you, but your truth is a lie if you're not living in the truth of Jesus Christ.
Good.
We have to fight for our families. And it took me to a story, and I began to think about some things. And before I read that story, God began to direct me and remind me of when you were a little kid. How many of you used to play hide and seek when you were little? Right? Yeah, you can raise your hands. I played hide and seek. I loved hide and seek. Hey, I still do too. Even in my own house where we really don't have anywhere to hide, like we try to pretend that you can't see me.
It's like
you know what I'm saying?
It's like the funnest game here at the church. Like some of you adults need to let loose a little bit, because we got 10 acres back here of woods. These teenagers go buck wild because they forgot that there's more to life than their thumbs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's go play.
There's outside. There's things to enjoy. And I remember when we were kids that playing hide and seek, that the point of the game was that you had a seeker and somebody who was it, and then everybody else would go and hide. And the coolest part about it was if you were the one who found the best hiding spot and told nobody because you knew you was going to go there again after somebody else got found, and you never got to be it, right?
Remember when the kids hid and they were right in the open? They just hid their face. They thought if you couldn't see them, they were hidden.
It cracks me up when they were little.
We're hiding. They were like, where did she go?
It's the truth, though. And I can remember when I was younger, we went to a church that had a gym facility, kind of like the one we do here, but it also had classrooms and stuff around it. And I can remember when I was younger, we would play hide and go seek in the dark. Turn them lights off back there and see how much you can see.
All you have to do is lay on the floor.
It was so much fun to just play hide and seek. But the problem of it is that at the end of the day, it was just a game, correct? But what's happened in our lives is some of us as adults have begun to take the ability to hide things and play hide and seek to a literal, and we begin to be the best ones to hide things. And the problem about it is when we hide things, our hidden things cause problems in our families. Right? And y'all may look at me like, I don't have anything to hide. Well, let's just see. Because hidden things isn't just about sin. And I want to get into a story with you for a moment. But I want to remind you that some things even may be such a good thing to you. Like you may have something good in your life that you're hiding. But if you hide it for long enough, a good thing can become a bad thing because it causes suspicion and it causes things to be different. And I'm not talking about surprise parties here. Like if you're trying to hide surprising somebody for their birthday, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, trying to hide a car because you want to buy somebody a new car. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not talking about those kind of things.
It's hard to do a surprise party when you got online. Just saying. Like, you know what I mean? People talk and stuff like that. It's hard.
I don't know. Then don't share it with people that you want to share it with. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
You tell everybody except Cousin Eddie over here.
Yeah.
You know he's going to tell everybody.
Yeah. But what happens in life when we have things we don't want others to know? Especially those closest to us, our friends, our family. We hide them from them. Because it's better this way, right? There's an old saying that says, what you don't know can't hurt you. Is this true? We're talking about things that in reality we try to give ourselves a sense of morality by telling white lies in order to show compassion or spare someone else's feelings, which in the end causes more damage. You tell yourself, you give yourself this sense of morality, by saying, well, what they don't know can't hurt them. Well, that's not the truth, because in the end, most of the time, what people don't know, if they really need to know something, actually causes more damage. Let me give you a few examples of just what you don't know can't hurt them. And these are simple things, but Mom will freak out if she finds out that you took the car without asking.
Ooh.
Of course she will, but what Mom doesn't know won't hurt her.
Somebody gonna die.
What a beautiful new car, but where did you get the money to buy it? What you don't know won't hurt you.
That almost sounds like,
What I'm talking about, like if you have a spouse say, hey, how do we get this new car?
hey, how did you show up with this car?
Hey, what you don't know won't hurt you.
Just a minute.
Until like a bill comes in the mail and you ain't got the money to pay for it. Yeah. I really shouldn't be on this site, but what my spouse doesn't know won't hurt them. I'll use the Altoid can in my bag in the closet to hide my cigarettes, but what my parents don't know won't hurt them. Hey, that took a lot of thinking. I did that. Just gonna be honest.
Is that real?
Yeah, that was for real. That's pretty sad when you can think of like weird things like that.
Yeah, because if you're hiding things in your room.
Yeah.
And
What they didn't know wouldn't hurt them. Well, it wasn't hurting them physically, but honestly, mentally, I wasn't telling the truth. So,
I tried to do that. It didn't work. Like,
because you aren't a good hider.
well, because I was bumping my beats in my room. I don't even know why. But there was a song called Unleash the Dragon. His name was Cisco. He had silver hair back in the day.
Hey, can I tell you where you messed up right there? You was bumping your beats in your room. At your home with your mama.
And my mama was like, you start hearing the cuss words, and mama come walking in like Medea. Boy, you ain't playing none of that music. You should be playing that music at all, but you ain't even definitely playing it in my house. I'll do what I want. No, you won't. Yes, I will. No, you won't. And then she was just kind of like, the way my mom was, I don't know, Mom. Is. She's like, if you're going to keep doing it, I'm just going to grab your stereo and throw it out the window. Like, it's just going to be like that today. So I shut the door, and I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm like, she's going to do something while I'm gone. So I'm hiding my CD. It's a CD. I'm like, she is never going to find this. Because it's not going to hurt her. She ain't going to know where I hid it. You know what? She ain't. She's got like 10 of them. Why would she even look in my Bible? I'm going to hide my CD in my Bible. Why would she use my Bible? She's got 10 in the living room. So I put it in my Bible. Unleash the Dragon, right in the Bible. And I leave, and I would do something. I come back home, and I'm like, it's not going to hurt her. Like she don't know. We'll deal with it another day. I walk in, and on my bed is a note. It says, if you mess with fire, you get burnt. And it's Cisco all busted up, broken up in there. It was a whole CD all into pieces, broken up with a letter. What's funny, Mom, I still have that letter in that Bible that's in my office. As a reminder, it does hurt. And people will find out, because what's in the darkness will come to the light. I was ignorant enough to put it in the Bible. I don't know, but it's real. We hide stuff.
We do hide things. What about things like...
What's the next?
What about things like
Like
this?
Jay Leno.
Now this gets more serious.
Yeah.
I was abused and taken advantage of when I was a child, but what my family doesn't know can't hurt them.
Yeah. Because you don't want to cause them any more pain, but it's causing you more pain.
But do your actions and your reactions because of what happened hurt them? Because of how you act, because of what happened to you when you were younger? And they wonder constantly, why are you acting like, why? Do we always come back to this? Why do we? Because you have something that's hidden that maybe you didn't do, but it's hidden in your past. What about this? Internally, I struggle with OCD and everything having to be perfect, but what my family doesn't know can't hurt them. I'm just constantly trying to push them to be the best at everything, but internally, I'm the one struggling, but what they don't know can't hurt them because I'm going to make them be perfect and be the best. This one's not as serious, but it happened in our family, not in my house. But it happened with my sister and my brother-in-law. I don't like her meatloaf, but what she doesn't know can't hurt her. You know, there's times sometimes when you make things and somebody's just too nice to say, hey, I don't really like that. Not because what you made is disgusting, but you know, when you live in a house like, I ate that for 50 years and I hated it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you gotta hide it? Just be honest, I don't like it. That's not something that's...
He's like, I've been making that for the last 6 years and you're just now telling me you don't like it?
She's like, why did you... And he was like, I didn't want to make you feel bad. She's like, well, I wouldn't feel bad. I don't have to make it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's just being honest. What's funny is hidden things can go from things that are just simple to things that are really large. But when they are hidden, they affect our families. See, these are just many examples of things we try to hide.
Yeah.
Hidden things, no matter how small they are, have the potential to destroy families. Hidden things, no matter how small they are, have the potential to destroy families. So I want to take you to the story of Achan in the Bible in Joshua chapter 7. I'm kind of going to skip around in a few of the verses. I'm reading out of the NLT. And it says it like this, starting in verse 17 of chapter 6, actually, just to set it up, because Jericho, if any of you know the story about Jericho, Joshua and the Israelites went up to destroy and walk around the walls of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down, and the only people that were saved in there was Rahab the prostitute and her family, and then they were told to do certain things with the articles and the items that were left. And so that's where we're kind of getting into right now. I'm not going to get in that full story because you have your own Bible, hopefully, and that's the point of studying, as you read it for yourself and find out what God's trying to say. So chapter 6, verse 17 through 18 says, Jericho and everything in it must be completely destroyed as an offering to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and the others in her house will be spared, for she protected our spies. Don't take any of the things set apart for destruction, or you yourselves will be completely destroyed, and you will bring trouble on the camp of Israel. Chapter 7 says it like this. But Israel violated the instructions about the things set apart for the Lord. A man named Achan had stolen some of the dedicated things, so the Lord was very angry with the Israelites. Achan was the son of Carmi, a descendant of Zimri, son of Zerah, and of the tribe of Judah. Joshua sent some of his men from Jericho to spy out the town of Ai, east of Bethel, near Beth Haven. When they returned, they told Joshua, there's no need for all of us to go up. It won't take more than 2,000 or 3,000 men to attack Ai. Since there are so few of them, don't make all our people struggle to go up there. So approximately 3,000 warriors were sent, but they were soundly defeated. The men of Ai chased the Israelites from the town gate as far as the quarries, and they killed about 36 who were retreating down the slope. And the Israelites were paralyzed with fear at this turn of events, and their courage melted. Verse 10. But the Lord said to Joshua, get up. Why are you lying on your face like this? Israel has sinned and broken my covenant. They have stolen some of the things that I commanded. Must be set apart for me. And they have only stolen them, but have not only stolen them, but have lied about it and hidden the things among their own belongings. That is why the Israelites are running from their enemies in defeat. For now, Israel itself has been set apart for destruction. I will not remain with you any longer unless you destroy the things among you that were set apart for destruction. Get up, command the people to purify themselves in preparation for tomorrow. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Hidden among you, O Israel, are things set apart for the Lord, until you remove these things from among you. Verse 16, chapter 7. Early the next morning, Joshua brought the tribes of Israel before the Lord, and the tribe of Judah was singled out. Then the clans of Judah came forward, and the clan of Zerah was singled out. And then the families of Zerah came forward, and the family of Zimri was singled out. And every member of Zimri's family was brought forward, person by person, and Achan was singled out. Then Joshua said to Achan, my son, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, by telling truth. Make your confession, and tell me what you have done. Don't hide it from me. And Achan replied, it is true. I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. Among the plunder, I saw a beautiful robe from Babylon, 200 silver coins, and a bar of gold weighing more than a pound. I wanted them so much that I took them. They are hidden in the ground beneath my tent, with the silver buried deeper than the rest. So Joshua sent some of the men to make a search. They ran to the tent and found the stolen goods hidden there. And just as Achan had said, with the silver buried beneath the rest, they took the things from the tent, brought them to Joshua, and the Israelites then laid them on the ground in the presence of the Lord. Then Joshua and all the Israelites took Achan, the silver, the robe, the bar of gold, his sons, daughters, cattle, donkey, sheep, goats, tent, and everything he had, and they brought them to the valley of Achor. Then Joshua said, Achan, why have you brought trouble on us? The Lord will now bring trouble on you. And the Israelites stoned Achan and his family and burned their bodies. They piled a great heap of stones over Achan, which remains to this day. That is why the place has been called the Valley of Trouble ever since. And so the Lord was no longer angry. See, Achan's hidden things didn't just hurt his family. They hurt his legacy, which was the things he was to leave behind. They affected his cattle, his donkey, his goats, his sheep, his tent, all the things that he was to have left behind, his children. They affected every bit of that. But not only did it affect that, it affected the name of the people that he represented. See, when you go back up to the very beginning, it said, but Israel violated the instructions. Hold up now. Just because some fool over here wants to hide stuff, now Israel is all in trouble? How's that right? How's it right that in our homes that the name of your family name has to be destroyed and distorted because of somebody else's choices and their hidden things? See, what we hide doesn't only affect what we are inside, it affects everything that's outside and around us. It affects the extended family. So not only do you affect your family and the legacy and the name of what you represent, but then if you are a Christian and you belong to Jesus Christ, you are hurting your extended family, which is the body of Christ, because you are not being true and real with who you are and the people around you. And what's crazy about it is because Achan hid something that he wanted, 36 men had to die for it. 36 men. Here they defeated all of Jericho, and they're all thinking, yeah, we got this. We're going to go into the next country, and we're going to defeat it. And now all we need is 2,000 to 3,000. Don't ever send everybody, Joshua. It's not that big of a deal. Don't send everybody. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just send kind of the best of the best out there and just get it done. And all of a sudden, they had to retreat and flee. Not because of something they had done wrong, but because of something that another person in their midst who was a part of that family had hidden. Now, I want to ask you a question this morning. What good can the things you hide do for your family if they're not worth sharing? What good can the things that you hide do for your family if they are not worth sharing? Good. Hidden things don't have to be an actual sin. It could be money, sickness, hurts from your past, bills, unpaid debt, not sharing major life decisions like jobs, moves, relationships, things like that you feel like only you need to know. And I'm not trying to tell you that you have to share every intense detail of your life with every person. But when you have a family and you don't feel like sharing that you've got a new job or where you're going, well, what's the matter with your job? What's wrong with it? And I know sometimes we feel intimidated because we're like, well, my family won't support me and they won't let me know what I need to do and they're just going to give me a hard time. Well, let that be on them, but you do what's right and don't allow something to come back on you because you are more afraid of what they'll do than what you need to do for God. Just tell the truth. Pastor Brandon says it all the time. Tell the truth, shame the devil. That's the fact of it. What's funny is you can say, well, if I'm not really hiding my job, I just don't want them to know.
True.
And just because you're scared and afraid of what they're going to think, it doesn't matter. You do right for what's right in here.
They're going to think, will they accept it? People are so consumed by everybody else's affairs. You know what I mean? Like in those other areas, if you're trying to do what's right. You know how many people, I'm just saying like church-wise, how many people just up and leave church and you're just like, where'd they go? What happened? What the heck? I wrote this down because I was really thinking about this. I had to write it down word for word so I didn't mess up the way I wanted to say it. Achan protected something that he thought was treasure, but what he didn't realize, the family around him, was the treasure he should have been protecting all along.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's really good.
That's right.
That's really good.
That he wanted, he buried, he hid, and used his whole family to hide it. Hey guys, look what I brought in. Hey, I got some clothes, I got the treasure. He thought that it would be a better idea to, I'm going to go ahead and one-up everybody and try to provide for myself. I'm going to hide this. And I'm going to go ahead and get this collected. So when we're all settled, we got a little, what do they call that? Nest egg?
Yeah.
We got something just a little extra.
Yeah.
Instead of providing, because what did God say? Everything's destroyed, and any gold and silver, all that goes to the house of the Lord. That goes to the treasury. He took the old his house.
Which to me shows that it wasn't that it was bad things.
No.
They went to God. They were for God. But it wasn't your thing.
But
see, he took what wasn't his.
So what's crazy, and I don't want to go too far up, but I'll just tell you what he didn't realize was, if you're just obedient in the moment, God will take care of it, because the next battle after that was the one that said, you keep everything.
That's right.
Every family keeps everything. Whatever you grab is yours. See, he didn't know that, but here's what we do sometimes. Because we don't see the plans I have, declares Brandon, I start making my own plans.
That's right.
And trying to provide for me, instead of following after God and knowing he directs my steps. He directs my path. Even if it don't look right in this battle I'm facing. I know he's faithful in this battle, that he's going to provide when I hit that next battle. But what we do is we try to fix it ourselves, and it costs our lives. It costs our family. It costs trust. Things are burnt. You know how takes forever to build a bridge, but you can burn it up real fast.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I had wrote down that hidden things never build trust. They only hinder it.
Well,
How can you trust people if you don't know the truth of what they really are? Do you see what I'm saying? And the fact of it is sometimes the problem is that we're hiding things from ourselves. We're hiding things from ourselves, because what happens is maybe you respond and you react a certain way to circumstances over and over and over and over and over, and all we say is, that's just who I am. That's just who I am. No, you may lash out in anger because you had something happen to you when you were younger that needs to be dealt with inside, that's buried and hidden down in there, and you haven't meant to make an idol or anything out of it, but you've allowed it to grow and be in there in your life, and instead of facing it and being willing to deal with it on the inside with you and God, and then dealing with it with the people that you may have hurt because of your outburst, what happens is we begin to consume ourselves by trying to be something that we are not, instead of being real. Hidden things only teach you to conceal, not be real.
Man, you better write that down.
That's all they do.
That's right.
Well, and this is why we see family stuff, because we're talking about we declare war against the enemy on our family. What we see, now we can't change the past. All we can do is make decisions now that's going to better the future, in this moment on. And what could be hidden, and it might, like you said, it might have been something that has happened to you in the past. So you take it to your most hidden place in the middle of your security, and you bury it, or you bury it deep inside, and then all of a sudden you have your own children, and your children are formed around your dysfunction and what has happened to you, and now they're grown up acting crazy, and you wonder why they acted the way they did, because you hid whatever you hid and formed your children around what you hid.
Well, I'll give you an example.
This happens.
I'll put myself
all
on
the time.
blast.
Let's
okay,
do it.
I'll
Sit
put-
down.
Okay. We're going to sit right
Your
here.
chin.
I thought he was going to pray over me first before he did it.
Well, we gonna pray.
So when I was younger, actually when my mom was younger, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. When my mom was younger, her family, her mother walked out on them, and her dad got remarried, and she had a stepmom. And her stepmother was not very nice. She beat and abused my mother and locked her in closets, and then made my mom get up early and make her 5 brothers breakfast and clean up after them before she went to school, and everything had to be very perfect. If it was not, she had to redo it again when she came home, plus go work a job and all the other stuff that she did. Well, what that created was a sense of OCD and perfectionism in my mother, because everything had to be perfect, right? From what had happened. It wasn't that my mom was just like woke up one day and like everything has to be in order and everything has to be perfect. That's not how she decided she wanted to be when she was a child. It was what was instilled in her so that she could behave a proper way that was needed to be. Isn't that funny that the world can do that? It tries to instill a thought and a feeling and an emotion so that we can react and behave properly to what the world requires instead of what God really has designed. And the fact of it is as that came along, my mom didn't have a very good mom, and as she was growing up, she really had to raise herself. And so as I was younger, my mom was a phenomenal mother. I was not an abused kid. They took care of us great. But what happened was I took on, my mom still had those characteristics of things needed to be always very nice, always very neat, always very clean, always very orderly, which I appreciated. I will tell you that when I was a kid, I appreciated that my house was in order. And I'm not saying that my mom was like some tyrant, because she was not. We enjoyed our childhood. But what I'm trying to say is I picked up some of those things about things being in order. From the time that I was younger, my babies on my bed had to be in a certain line, and I would make a pocket to get myself down in between them. And one night my dad moved my babies, and I had a breakdown. No, I had a breakdown. Because everything to me, I was just had to be nice and neat and in order. And if it wasn't in order, then it was wrong. Which really it wasn't wrong, it was just wrong to me because it wasn't perfect in what things were sent on. And as I had gone on and going into relationships, and then all my relationships had to be a perfect way. So I had to make everything work perfectly. And then as you go on into being a mother, it's the same thing. And my mom has changed across the years and worked on those things, and I've worked on those things, and only God can do that in us. But I have noticed, even with some certain things in some of my kids that they've done, that everything has to sometimes be in order. And I didn't realize it until I saw it for myself. And I remember one day I had a breakdown with my kids, and I just said, look, because I was standing and being the one telling them, guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's really okay that it didn't work out like that. And then I thought, but have you shown them that? Have you shown them that that's the issue? And I sat down at that minute and I said, look, this has been a problem of mine. I have struggled with this for years about having to have things be perfect. And now I am in my 30s trying to get myself together. Please do not follow what I did, and let's work on it together so that we can work on it so that you don't struggle. I could have hidden that in that moment and been like, well, if my mom's mom wouldn't have done what she did, then it wouldn't have been a problem. And what I do really isn't that big of a deal. I mean, what's the problem with wanting everything to be in order? And I could have been on my kids. But I stopped at that minute to display what was hidden inside of my heart, to tell the truth and say, look, this is a problem. And generationally, I don't want you to have to deal with it.
Man.
And that's what I'm talking about. See, it wasn't something I did. It wasn't like I just went out and sinned. It wasn't like I just went out and was hiding pornography or alcohol or drugs or cigarettes anymore in my closet. I was just trying to be a good mom. But I had something hidden in my heart that was hindering me from going to what I needed to do, and it could hinder my children from really being to be unique in who they are.
So it was hidden in your mom. You didn't realize it was already still hidden in you, and if you didn't break that cycle, what they call sometimes generational curses, that it was going to be hidden in my daughter, or my other daughter, or my son. And there it has to come out. I think the lie of the enemy and the lie that we tell ourselves is my sins only affect me.
It's good.
What did he believe? Oh, it's just going to affect me. But no, he said 36 soldiers and their family. Guys, I just want to tell you real quick, loud and clear, breaking news. I'm thankful for the grace of Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
Because if it was the way it was back then today, you're going to have to rally up my whole family, and my dogs, and my cat, and the chickens, and whatever else that involves my entire family, and you're going to see us get burned up.
Yeah.
Because what happened in that area in that time was like the whole family unit. You're getting it? Because it disobeyed the whole thing.
Well, it was trying to say, we're not going to let this go on any further.
Yeah.
And I think that's us as families saying, I don't want this to go on any further. And what's crazy is that if you look down in, where did Achan hide his stuff? He hid it in the ground, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He hid it underneath and buried it. Do you realize that hiding things only happens in dark places? You don't just hide like some kids do out in the middle and throw a blanket over themselves and are like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here. You know, when we truly hide things, that we take purpose to hide them. We are purposeful about putting them in a dark place where nobody can find
There's
it.
nothing hidden in the light.
And dark and light don't mix. And it says in Ephesians 5:8, sorry, trying to get to it. So Ephesians 5:8-16 says it this way: you groped your way through the murk once, but no longer. You're out in the open now. The bright light of Christ makes your way plain. So no more stumbling around. Get on with it. The good, the right, the true. These are actions appropriate for daylight hours. Figure out what will please Christ and then do it. Don't waste your time on useless work, mere busy work, the barren pursuits of darkness. Expose these things for the sham they are. It's a scandal when people waste their lives on things they must do in the darkness where no one can see it. Rip the covers off those frauds and see how attractive they look in the light of Christ.
Whoa.
Wake up from your sleep. Climb out of your coffins. Christ will show you the light, so watch your step, use your head, and make the most of every chance you get. These are desperate times. Now, I want to read you one more scripture. Luke 12:1-3 says it this way: by this time, the crowd, unwieldy and stepping on each other's toes, numbered in thousands, but Jesus' primary concern was the disciples. He said to them, watch yourselves carefully so you don't get contaminated with Pharisee yeast, Pharisee phoniness. You can't keep your true self hidden forever. Before long, you'll be exposed. You can't hide behind a religious mask forever. Sooner or later, the mask will slip and your true face will be known. You can't whisper one thing in private and preach the opposite in public. The days are coming when those whispers will be repeated all over town.
That's some deep stuff.
Light and darkness cannot mix. One way or another, the light of God will reveal hidden things we keep away from Him and others. One way or another, what you're hiding is going to come out one day. But why do we hide things? Why?
Well, that's the lie that we believe. Well, I can hide my sin. I can hide it from God and others.
Yeah.
It's just mine.
Well, I think one of the reasons we hide things is because we're ashamed. We may know that these actions or behaviors may be wrong or don't make sense, but we hide them in fear of the embarrassment we would feel if others knew the truth. We're ashamed.
Yeah.
What about fearing judgment? We fear judgment. No one likes being criticized. No one likes being blamed or judged. We are more afraid of what we will lose than what we can actually gain from telling the truth. We're more afraid of people seeing who we really are and dealing with the hidden things than actually knowing what the truth is. See, what happens is I've seen so many people hide themselves in relationships and hide themselves in other things that what happens is eventually it catches up with them to the point that they end up telling the truth and they have to have that relationship broken up. But what happens is they begin to hide back into what they were because they're more afraid of what they lost than what they gained through the truth.
What's funny is you notice, like, when you're trying to help somebody and you know, like with family and friends, and you're going through, like, you know, when you see somebody and you know it's out of their character and you're like, man, something's off. And you try to talk to them and you're really sincere and you're really trying to pray and you're trying to, almost like accountability. And the first thing that people usually say is, quit judging me.
Or I'm good.
I'm good. Stop judging. Why are you judging me? I'm like, judging you? It always is. It's so funny because it seems like people that are usually trying to hide something, they want to call it judging.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And there's these little keys that happen and you're like, I'm not trying to judge you. But because of our relationship, I know you. And because I'm not going to sit here and just act like nothing's going on, I love you that much that I'm going to sit here in the dirt with you and we're going to have a conversation. And I'm not going to let you go. I'm not quitting you. I'm going to keep holding on. You can quit yourself and everybody around you. You can try to quit me. But I'm still going to pray and I'm still going to be here. And I'm going to tell you the truth. And it's out of love. well, you're judging me. No, I'm not judging you.
Well, real people who actually love you in your lives will be the ones who help you dig up what's hidden and then deal and heal. They'll be the ones to help you in that.
Real love isn't trying to be like, okay, grab the shovel. Okay, dig the hole. No, real love is the ones that are going to help you get out of it. Look, let's get this out. Let's get this over with.
What did God say to Joshua? Joshua spent his time on his knees with his face buried in the dirt. And God was like, get up. What are you doing here? You have people who have sinned in your camp, and it needs to be dealt with. It's time to deal so that people can heal. And I think that's the fact of it. Today, talking about hidden things, we are saying you have to be able to deal with it to heal it.
Yeah.
And if you keep it buried, it's going to do no good.
Yeah.
I think another reason that we hide things is because we want to please others.
Yeah.
We all want to be loved, respected, and accepted. But often patterns we learn in our childhood strongly affect our adult relationships and behaviors. We hide the truth of who we really are because we are afraid of the disapproval of others. We're afraid that others are going to disapprove of the true us, of who we truly are. I didn't have a good mother, so I overcompensate trying to make up for what I didn't have. And that's something that can be hidden. Like I talked about with perfectionism, or sometimes it can be alcoholism, or sometimes it can be spending way too much money because you don't have control over your finances, which goes down into your children. Hidden things can affect our families.
Too many times people, I don't know if you know that or not, at times where you notice that with some people live so much on these highs and lows in their family units, and it falls down into their children, where they feel like everything's good if I get what I want. So if I buy it, or whatever the case is, like you can, they even call it, like, people can be a shopaholic. You ever notice people that buy something and they're good, but everything's bad, but as soon as they buy something, everything's good? And then guess what happens? Because whatever's hidden inside and causing them to do that, it transforms into their children. And then they get what well, if I had that, I'm good. Well, they're going to act good. I'll be good if you give that to me. I'll be good. Well, if you're not good, you're going to, well, I'll be good if you give that to me. No, you'll be good if I don't give it to you. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes we train our kids in the wrong way in that too, because we're like trying to train them like, well, if you're good, I'm going to get you that. So I only act good if I get what I want, or get that gift, or get that. You can receive a gift just being good. You see what I'm saying? But these hidden things are so, at times what we have to do is look in the mirror, in the reflection, and say, what are these things that have been hidden? And maybe some of them are like, maybe there's stuff that you know personally, like, you know, I've been hiding this because I know I've been doing wrong in this. Or maybe it's something like what she said, like, I just grew up like this, didn't even realize it was a hidden thing from somebody else, but now it became in me, and now I see it. It's real. It affects everything. What is it? What did we talk about last week? The integrity. What do you do when you're looking at the house? You're looking for the integrity and see if it's strengthened. But when you hide something in the integrity of the home, it cracks, like she said, the foundation. Everything is shaky. And another lie, I keep saying this back and forth with what we're talking about, a lie that I guess Achan would have believed in himself is like, whatever happens in Jericho stays in Jericho. Yeah. Because you know for a fact that whoever's in that tent, and this ain't like little tents for like 4 people. You're talking about big family units living together. Hey, I got some stuff. Shh, just be quiet. Let's keep it between us. Already, look what you just did. You exposed everybody, and everybody's in on it now.
Well, if Joshua wouldn't have exposed Achan,
absolutely,
they would have continued to lose every battle that they faced because they were living in the wrong.
And the blessings and everything else that came along with that. Guys, listen, being a Christian don't mean you're not going to have issues. You're going to face battles. And in those battles, there's going to be victories. And you're going to collect, and God's going to advance you. You have to go. There's battles in our life. I don't know where people think, well, everything's all good when you're a Christian.
Well, it's painful sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's painful.
You will go through things, but you know that Christ is in the center of it, and it doesn't have you.
Well, uncovering hidden things can be painful.
Oh, yeah. Shining a light on it.
When you shine a light on something or dealing with something that maybe you've dealt with for a long time and allowing others to see the truth of that, sometimes that can be very painful. But I want you to realize this. that the pain you feel in the moment can spare you and others a pain of a lifetime.
Yeah.
The pain of the moment is better to go through now than dealing with pain and generational curses and things that happen over and over and repeat cycles that are no good. It's better to deal. Deal with what's going on.
It affects everybody around you. The decisions you make do affect people. How you live, what you do, it affects the family and friends around you. And the enemy, all he wants to do, what I say, just separate. If he can just separate you, that's all he needs to do. Then he just got a hold on you. But you have to learn to just say, no, enough's enough. I'm not going to allow this anymore.
Those hidden things, just like you said, it separates you. Anything that's hidden divides. It can cause separation because it's putting something between you and the people that you love, or putting something between you and God. When we hide things, it divides and separates us from stuff. And I look back on Achan and when he was called out. And what's crazy is Achan was from the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Judah was the tribe that worshiped. They were the worshiping warriors that went forward. That's what they were.
In Jericho and walked around. They led the army to defeat Jericho.
What's crazy is the enemy will always go for your worship. And he will always go to try to steal your worship. And when you have things hidden that are hidden from God, it separates your worship. And the reason I say this is because when we hide things, it causes us to spend more time and energy on keeping up the secret than we do on our relationship with God and our families.
Well, where does relationship and healing start? Where it hurts the most. I mean, think about your relationship with Jesus. When you ask Christ to come into you ask him to forgive you of your sins. That's where it starts, where it hurts the most. And then in your family, you talk about things that hurt. You have to start where it hurts the most. And even if the hardest part is just owning up and letting your pride fall and say, look, I was wrong. I've been doing this wrong. I'm sorry. That's where it starts, where it hurts the most. That's where healing starts in the family. Instead of all the confusion and all this stuff, because, listen, I don't know if you've noticed it in the culture, in the world, and everything that's going on in our world, everything's trying to be divided. It's time, now's the time to bring the family together.
Bring it to the
I'm telling you right now, the way things are and the way, I'm surprised people aren't going to start trying to live together, because it's like going back to that old style where everybody has to live together because ain't nobody can afford anything anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting crazy like that. You got to get this family stuff in order, because all we have is us. We have each other. And all the enemy wants to do is separate that. And if you can isolate somebody, what do we do with coals? If you want to go ahead and grill out today and you got to use coal, we bring them together. It stays hotter when they're together. The moment that one separates, it starts to die out. That's all he does. That's all he ever wants to do. So I'm telling you right now, I've heard talk of people saying that, like, man, if it keeps getting any worse, there's no way. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to have to live together, because we can't. People are already carpooling. You can't go any. I mean, thank God I don't live in LA at $7.25 a gallon. You know what I mean? Like, but things are causing people want to come together, but people can't even. You know how many people got divorced in 2020? Because they just could not live together?
Well, because they hid behind their jobs.
Because in the end, they were stuck. But if things didn't get taken care of, everything started getting exposed, and they made it worse instead of really coming to it.
Well, instead of dealing with it. And the fact of it is your hidden things are sparing no one.
Families.
They're not sparing anybody. The things you hide are not helping them.
Grandkids.
They're not saving anybody, and they're not saving you. And the reason I say this is because what you're hiding, you're idolizing.
Ooh. Mom. That's true talk there.
Because to hide something and keep it hidden, like I said, takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy to conceal what the truth of is inside of yourself. And we put up a facade, and we cannot do that any longer. It is okay. Guess what? We all have had things in our lives that have happened that we probably have hidden in our hearts. But what's powerful is when you come in and you step in the presence of God, the one thing that I know that he said hide is hide my word in your heart, that you might not sin against me. If you hide my word. See, when you have God in your heart, guess what? There's no room for nothing else. There's no room to hide it, because he takes up all of you. See, the problem of it is God can't get into the hidden places because you want to keep the door shut. It's like that creepy cellar basement in some kind of horror movie on Friday the 13th that you're just like, you can't go in there. It's got padlock and everything. guess what? God walked through the walls right when he came out of the grave, and he can walk through your wall again. And the fact of it is that he wants to clean out every area in your life so that he can have all of it, so the world can have none of it.
Man, that's good. He wants all, not some. He wants all. Man.
See, our families follow the paths we take and the paths that we set.
Yeah.
And it's time that we teach our families to be real and show them how important it is not to conceal and hide things. And I thought about this. I didn't know if Achan's wife knew that he hid things. I don't know. It doesn't say that she knew. It doesn't say she didn't know. You want to know? Inquiring minds can only ask God when they get to heaven what really happened, okay? Because I can't tell you, and I'm guaranteeing nobody from that time is living today to tell you that, hey, she knew. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. But I thought about it, and what if she did know? What if Achan's wife knew what he was hiding? So you're not protecting your family by covering up the hidden things. You're not helping your spouse or your children by helping them cover up hidden things in their lives, by trying to make everything all better and let them know that they're all good, and trying to put a facade on the truth of what's really happening in your lives.
You know what I think about Love and that? What about the people around him that fought and their sword had a six and all that stuff? And they're watching this man pick up stuff. He's got a sword. He should have a shield. And some reason he's got clothes, he's got jewelry, he's got other things in his hands that don't belong in his hands. And yet, doesn't say that nobody around him said, bro, put that stuff down.
Man, his wife didn't notice that something was dug up and like there was this weird mound in the floor.
But even coming up out of that war, not even saying a word.
No.
Where is the accountability? Why do we walk on eggshells? And if it's wrong, it's wrong. Hey, don't do that. What are you doing? And sometimes you can go from your own example. I've been down that road. Don't go there.
No, it's not good. Because if you help somebody hide what's going on in their lives, you've become an accessory to their lies.
Yeah.
And you enable them to tell the truth.
What do they say? Turn a blind eye.
Exactly. I had that. Because you're turning a blind eye to it. If you turn a blind eye to the truth, it's still accepting the lie. Turning a blind eye to the truth is still accepting the lie, but it relieves yourself of accountability.
Hidden treasures. That hide and seek. I guess the end result is if you don't like what you have found, you need to find a new secret.
Well, you're not responsible for hiding others' hidden things. You're not responsible for it, and you're not responsible for telling the truth or undigging their hidden things if they don't want to, but you're responsible for what you are hiding in yourself by hiding what somebody else is hiding. It really does affect things, and it makes it a problem. When we love our families, we will be willing to tell the truth in love and then allow God to shine his light upon what's hidden. Don't let the pain of the truth you face exposing keep you from doing what is right. What we hide always divides. It's just the truth. What we hide always divides.
Well, because we feel that, when we know, for people we know personally, we feel that because then we're like, well, I don't want them to get in trouble, or I don't want this, or I don't want that, and it's like, it's already eaten you alive. You're so involved in it, it's unreal, and you're not even there. Nothing good is hidden, honestly. What comes of it?
Nothing, but Nothing. You don't have to be, like I said, I'm not asking any of you to be the town crier on what somebody else in your family is going through.
No.
But you can look at them and say, hey, I'm not going to hide this for you. You need to deal with it, and I will not be a part of what is taking place because I know God has so much more for you than this, and I will not deny the truth. And sometimes that's the hardest place to be.
When you deal with that with your family, honestly, guys, this is just real talk. Before you even think about having that conversation, please look in the mirror. You know what I mean? We would look at everybody's specks in their eye, and we got that big plank in our own eye. We have to look first deep inside. Like, is there anything that has been hidden, whether I did it or it's been a generational thing, I didn't realize it. And then with the family, it's all out of love and timing and everything, because you want, of course, we want the best for our family. We do. We really do. But have you entertained stuff that shouldn't have been entertained? Have you just kind of turned a blind eye and just, it's just what it is? Or have you stood your ground and said, no. Guys, come on, you're better than this. Snap out of it. Do you ever see that when you walk around? I don't know if you do this or not. Like sometimes when I go out and about, sometimes I'll just sit down. And just, have you ever just people watched? It is the funniest thing. I wish there was more benches in Walmart. Because it is the craziest thing, because you just don't even realize that, like, there's people just, almost like they don't even realize they're just like zombies, just going through the motion, like, snap out of it. There's more to life. Get out of this mess. The enemy's trying to destroy the family unit. Not just in your own personal family, but even in the house of God. Yeah. It's time to rise up out of that. It's time to pull back the curtain, pull back the rug. It's time to dig it up, get the shovel out and say, no, this has got to go. Yeah. I mean, you can cut it off at the top, but digging in the root, that's a whole nother ballgame. But I'm telling you, it's worth it, because what does the Lord do? He prunes, and he knows that we need to grow a certain way, so he does the work. That's what he does.
I think with hidden things, as we're getting ready to close up and end in this, I think with hidden things, what's crazy is you can't change the paths that other people take in your family. And you can't change the past of what others have done even in your life or things that have done, but you can change the path you take today. You can't change what other people are doing, but you can change what you're doing to follow into what God needs to do. And if you have things hidden in your life, it's time that we ask ourselves, why do I really do what I do? Why do I act these certain ways? What has happened, and why do I allow it? It could be from actual sin of, like I said, but people struggle with, now that we have computers, people struggle way more so with hiding things, because there's all these iClouds and all these accounts where you can put pictures and stuff that are things from your past that you don't want people knowing.
Well, we deal with that with teenagers.
Yeah.
We're talking about teenagers making fake accounts to get on other sites, or even faking it out so that they can say they're older. And
yeah, there's lots of ways to hide. There's lots of ways to hide anymore in these days. So it can go from things like that, of sins and things from your past, or it can go from just simple things of
anything,
how you are acting. Anything hidden, if it's not worth sharing, how is it any good? And that's just what I want to challenge you with today. Why don't you go ahead and stand with us this morning?
Our families, they're valuable. We have to fight for it. Fighting for it, fighting for the truth. Like I said, if some of the old great-grandmas were still alive, they would be flipping out over the stuff that we allow anymore in our families. All the hard work that some put into it in prayer, and also just trying to live with some dignity and some integrity. Fighting for the family. Now, we accept people, we love people, but it is time to get to a place of saying, no, what is hidden's got to come out. Search my heart, oh God. That's the reality. Search me, God. If there's anything hidden, let it come out. I don't want it. And we know, like, the certain things, like, oh God, we play games with God. You can take this, God. I don't know if you can take this one, because I can't let that go. It's not that we know we can't take it. It's just that we know that we struggle with letting it go. Let that go. He knows it's best. He wants to transform us from the inside out and use us and advance us and do all these great things. It starts in the home. And that's the prayer for you guys also, is letting it be a reflection in all areas of your home life. How many know that you don't like it when you go home and there's no peace? When it's disruption, and you're like, oh, I can't handle that in my house. You know what I'm saying? That stuff, let God use, so your home is a home of peace. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. We're going to keep things open. We're going to be communicating. We're going to do whatever it takes. If there's something, then we're going to work together. Where'd you hide it? You know what hidden at my house? That dang remote. My kids, man, they be hiding that remote left and right. It's in this crack in the couch. It's under here. My dad, he always goes, boy, where's the remote? He's got duct tape all around it. He's got stuff on it. Like, just tape it to this. Nobody can hide it now. But it's like that. The kids start so early, like, I gotta hide the remote because I need to be in control. That's what we do, though. We hide it so we feel like we're in control of it. So that we only know where it's at and we can control it as we need to control it. Guys, lose control. Get it out.
I think we have to remember that with God, nothing is ever truly really hidden from him. He sees it all. He knows all. So it's okay to let him deal with it. He still loves you and he's still seeking you even though you're trying to hide. I just think it's time that we stop playing games with God and allow ourselves to be found so that we can be truly found in him. Amen.